My name is Miss Uchenna Madueke. I'm a teacher with the Open Door Special Education in Jos, Plateau State. I've been teaching for 12 years. I teach children with learning disabilities. For example, Down syndrome children, autistic children, and few cerebral palsy children too. That's what I do. I'm motivated. I sing with them. I do singing with them more than any other thing. And it's been a beautiful experience for me. I love what I'm doing, to be honest.
Cerebral palsy is a disease that is due to poor development of certain parts of the brain, either just before birth or shortly after birth. So those who are afflicted, with this condition will lose certain functions that the brain normally will control. The brain is the maestro of everything that we do, our speech, our hearing, our sense of smell, ability to see, walk and sense things emanate from the brain. And different parts of the brain orchestrate different functions. So if you have the part of your brain that is responsible for muscle coordination mostly affected, then you may present with just that. But in most instances, most different parts of the brain to different extents will be affected. So they may have speech difficulty, they may have problem with locomotion because their muscles have gone. They may also have intellectual difficulties because that part of the brain that is responsible for processing information and so on may be affected. The cases where you can identify, causes are much less than those where the causes cannot easily be identified. Sometimes this, infection prior to birth, sometimes it's difficult delivery, and sometimes it is after delivery the child, has difficulty breathing. Therefore, the brain is starved of oxygen. And during that period, short period of time, those parts of the brain may be affected adversely. So no matter how well the antenatal and postnatal care is, cerebral palsy is still something that ravages the world. I mean, in countries like Sweden, with about the best healthcare facilities, United States, you still have children being born with cerebral palsy. So the cause in majority of cases has not been identified. So it's difficult to say, well, we can prevent it totally, but at least we can make sure that the child has good antenatal care. The child is born properly. I mean, if there's going to be a difficult labor, it should be anticipated so that the obstetrician can take the right measure. And when the child is born, they should ensure that the child gets proper care in terms of having oxygen, its airway being cleared, and so on and so forth. So they're not starved of oxygen shortly after birth.
I would say these kids are so precious. They're so precious and very fragile at the same time, and they can easily know if you actually love them. It's easy for them to know. A lot of people work just for the money, a lot. Even abroad, some people work for the money. So that's why I will always advise to train staff. Even though people want to work with them, they have to be trained. Because if people are not trained, they will not be able to be successful with these children. Because these children have special needs that needs to be met. And people have to be able to tolerate their indifferences. So training is very important for teachers and also for parents. They have to be consistent in whatever they do. First of all, they have to know what area they want to work with. Because with CP, some may be like hand or legs or whatever, that have the deficiency. Whichever area they are going to be working with, they need to receive the training from someone who has experience. It's more of motor training, motor skills, which include like running, walking, and all kind of motor activities. They need to be able to be involved with these kids. And this has to be on consistent basis. It's not something you do today and you want to do it again next week. It has to be every day, not even twice a day. It's good enough for these kids, you know. And in terms of instruction, you know, they need to have activities for these kids to be able to work with. And it depends on their level of cognitive, you know, so that will determine how far they can work with them.
When you're working with especially children with mental retardation, most of them have behavioral problems. Sometimes there's a tendency of overshouting on them and not realizing it's not their fault. And I've done those several times and I felt bad. As you know, it's not their fault. Why am I shouting? That the behavior they have, you don't want them to have it. Forget it, they are mentally challenged. And sometimes I forget that and I overreact with some of them. Like in the office, I'm the only one with cerebral palsy that is the teacher. And you know, other teachers regular people, and sometimes they overreact, and I get angry. And I wonder, it's not their fault, or maybe I keep the people calling them witches and witches. I want to get mad. They are not witches and witches. They, it's like, if it's like, if it's me, how will I feel? Because I know what it means to have a form of disability. My late mother was, my family was very supportive, but I had difficulty, especially in primary school, because I went to a normal family to copy my notes. Children were running away. Why is one walking the way she's walking? They couldn't understand. Primary school was a mess for me. But secondary school was more relaxed. People were friendly. People wanted to know why I was walking and talking the way I was. Because today I've improved compared to those days. My condition was bad. But as I grew, by the help of God, I'm overcoming day by day. People can hear me clearly. So,
how I was able to manage and bring up Olaoluwa's siblings to care and also manage him with us. I won't tell you it's been easy. It's not been easy. But when you have God, because things like this, when life is not fair, that's number one. Everybody has to know that. You might be seeing my own situation today. You think, oh, sorry, I'm sorry for these people. You never know what tomorrow will bring to you. Life is not fair to anybody. But whatever life throws at you, that has always been my belief. You make the best out of the situation. It has not been easy, but God has helped me. I learned early in life, like my mother also taught me, that you rise up to your responsibilities. When I had Olaoluwa, I didn't understand anything. I couldn't believe it, you know. I was angry. I was in denial, but not for too long. You know, not for too long. I was angry at God.
A lot of people, they just do stuff on their own without not being guided to say this is how you need to do stuff or stuff. So the more the parents are hearing this, the more they will feel more comfortable. Because like in US, I always tell people, I don't see these kids, because they always lock them up, because they don't believe in them. And these kids can be successful. You just have to have the heart and this, to be able to expose them. They need to be exposed. People need to know them. People need to know it's not a disease. It's just an act of disability, and the more they are exposed, the more the parents will feel more comfortable to be able to work with them. Because in Nigeria, people are like, cast them on the side or something, they don't belong, in US, it's not like that. Everybody around knows the disability. They need to be able to explain to them, it's not your fault, it's nobody's fault, it's just an act.
I love my son with all my heart. Sometimes people accuse me that I love him more than the others. But like Jesus said in the Bible, if you have 100 sheep and one is lost, you're going to leave the 99 and go and search for that one, the weak one, the vulnerable one, the one that cannot do things for himself. You must watch out. You must be the eyes, the ears, the voice of that one. So Olaoluwa has been and has always been precious to us. So his siblings grew up loving him.
My name is Oluwabusola Akishola. I work with the Children Development Center, Surulere. I'm a project officer. I have a master's degree in international economics and trade. I have a BSc degree in economics from the Bangkok University in Nigeria. I am basically who I am, and I'm proud of who I am. I could remember that my family were very supportive. They were like, okay, they took me out. They never mind the signal, because there's a lot of signal out there. I could remember that my brothers would say, okay, so let's go out. When they are going out, they were in boarding school. Or when they come back, they're like, okay, let's go out. Let's go to the Mr. Beast or something. They take me out to eat trees. They take me when they are traveling, and that really helped me. That really encouraged me. That really made life easy for me. But even though I was having a lot of difficulties, but with that love and support they showed me, I was able to surmount all obstacles. And my mom will always tell me, you can be great. You can do whatever you want to be, A lot of families out there, we say, okay, because you have disability, stay at home. Don't go out, don't do this, don't do that. They don't want to. The families themselves have a role to play in everything. Because once they hide you at home, you can never go that far. Even if you want to achieve whatever you want to achieve, even if you are not giving up on yourself, if your family can't take you out, then what do you have to gain? I knew I could do something. I knew I could do a lot of things. I knew I could do something on my own. So when I went to school and I knew that okay, this course is giving me problem, I go back to my room, read it up, and when the exam comes, I pass. And you just take extra lesson, extra coaching. My parents were there, they employed lesson teachers for me. And I found out that I was good in mathematics, and I was like, okay, then I'm going to do economics. And because when I was in GSS classes, I was the best in my school in economics there. In mathematics. So they were like, okay, maybe you'll be good at economics or something. So I went to read economics, and I'm proud to say I came out victorious. I came out on top. I came out in flying colors because it's not easy.
Autism is well known. Down syndrome is well known. But most people don't know about cerebral palsy. And cerebral palsy is the most expensive disability to manage in the world. Why? Because a cerebral palsy child, that they have said at this forum, needs a pediatrician. Every child needs a pediatrician. They need a neurologist, pediatric neurologist. They need a lot of surgeries. They need a surgeon. They need a physiotherapist. They need the occupational therapist. They need the nutritionist. They need the speech therapist. It's a multidisciplinary approach. So it is very expensive. It is very expensive. So that's why we are coming out to encourage parents. Don't throw your child away. Do the best that you can. And while doing your best, you don't know who or what God will do for you. He could send somebody to you. There was this guy in America. He didn't have cerebral palsy. I was watching a documentary on him. You know, this other kind of disease that makes your face look like an elephant's face. It's tumor. They keep on growing. They don't stop growing. And these guys live in America. There's no cure. But they are well managed. This guy is married. He's 37 with an elephant face. Pretty wife with 4 children. His eldest child is 13. He has 3 boys, 1 girl. He works in a KFC restaurant. He's a manager there. He rides his bike to work. So please, if somebody like that could find a wife and live happy, his mother lives with him because he's an only child. And the wife is so wonderful. She said what endeared her to him was the courage he had to come and ask her out. You know, a lot of people will be so, no, this guy doesn't give a hoot. You look at him, he looks at you back. So that's the kind of thing we want people to know.
Well, I mean, the management of children with cerebral palsy is multidisciplinary. What that means is that it involves more than one person and one specialty. It involves quite a number of specialties and specialists, starting with the pediatrician, the neurologist, the occupational therapist, the physiotherapist, the dietitian, the psychologist, psychiatrist, sometimes even the surgeon is involved in the management of children living with cerebral palsy. So the first point of call for a family or parents will be the pediatrician, who will establish the diagnosis and sometimes even establish the cause of the cerebral palsy. And he is the one that will then ideally point them to the other specialists that would need to see the child early, and so that they can form a team and formulate a treatment plan or a management plan for the child.
As a psychologist, we encounter children living with cerebral palsy in several ways. One major area is in their cognitive evaluation, which is one of the comorbid conditions or impairment that comes with being cerebral palsy. Now, the cognitive deficit they usually have, they manage our evaluating them in order to know the best placement they could get in school. And that evaluation could also throw up a lot of issues, personality problems, emotional problems that these children go through. Now, you know, there are a lot of deformity that comes with it. And these children need to grow up and be like others. And they discover that they can't function and they're not exactly like others. It begins to bother them. And bothering them means they ruminate over it. And if they can't find a reasonable answer, they go down with a lot of emotional disturbances. A prominent feature of children with cerebral palsy is navigating adolescence. At adolescence, the focus is on what? The physique, the outlook. But these children are not like others in several ways. And it makes their self-esteem drop. And with low self-esteem, we have a gamut of emotional problems that come with it. In terms of interaction with people, in terms of the way they relate with others, and in terms of the way they see themselves. And that goes a long way. in affecting their general psyche. And that is where the clinical psychologists come in.
We know of children with cerebral palsy who have gone on to hold jobs and even obtain master's degrees. So they do count because they are useful people in their own right. Within every child, even with a disability, is an ability waiting to be discovered. And I think it's our job to discover that. So they must count. And to end the stigmatization is to come to the realization that actually these people are not useless. They matter, they count. All right, and I think that's one thing we should do. And of course, they can live very useful and productive lives. Maybe because the expectation of the family was for a particular standard and a particular person that they wanted, and it didn't happen. So they go through denial, they go through all the stages of grieving. But I think we have to come to the realization that they do count and they can be useful.
There isn't a preponderance. It is not one of those diseases that you find it less in developed countries as opposed to developing countries. I'll give it, that the developed world would have a little bit less, but it's not the usual stark difference because we are developing. As I said, because the conditions that lead to it have basically, in a lot of cases, nothing to do with the level of healthcare.
Most of the time, they need to speak good things to these children. You're going to make it, you are okay, there's nothing wrong with you, you are fine, that's the way God created you. You know what I'm saying? So you have to speak good things to these kids. Make them feel wanted. Make them feel that they're involved. Make them feel into everything. That will help them. Even at school, these kids are so precious. You see us sending them, you are so handsome, you are so beautiful. So what can you do? I mean, things like that make these kids to be laughing. The more they laugh, the more they feel more lively, and they just want to keep going.
Your child or your individual or your sibling who has cerebral palsy is a special person. They must be treated specially, and they must be cared for, they must be loved, and you must keep the faith. It's important because we've seen here testimonies of people whose parents did not treat their children differently. In other words, whatever they got, whatever they bought for their other children, they bought for the child who has cerebral palsy. I think that's important. It also sends a message to the child that I matter, I count. And I think if there are families out there who have abandoned their loved ones who have special needs, I think it's a time to go back and reconnect, because these children will be their blessing and they don't want to miss that blessing.
Most families with children with cerebral palsy, either because they don't have the wherewithal to bring these kids out, hide them at home or keep them at home, or because of the stigma that they think is associated with having a child with cerebral palsy, they don't bring these children out. So most people actually do not appreciate the enormity of the problem. Most children with cerebral palsy are not seen publicly, but there are a lot of them. And one of the things we hope Benola will do is to bring people out so that they know that they're not alone and they can find support, not only support, emotionally, but also support physically to assist them in carrying the burden of looking after children, with cerebral palsy.
So everybody has a challenge. Everybody has it. Everybody is abnormal at some point. Yeah. Because when you look at it, the challenges I face might not be the same challenges you face. Because you might be okay. I don't have money in my pocket. Well, that's a challenge. So everybody has a form of disability in one way or the other. So if I can see life that way, then I can go on and make it to the top. So, I'm trying to encourage mothers and fathers and families of people with special needs. That, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world when you have children with disability. It might be difficult. It might be challenging. It might be stigmatization out there. But the child can actually make it.
I want them to know do this. Stop hiding your child. Give them a chance to live. After all, you think Nobody gave anybody life. That's why the disability. You didn't give them life. God have given them life. Let them live it. Like I keep telling people, and they will life. I think I'm going to enjoy the life to the fullest. That's why my disability. I go out, I buy myself good things. I tell my friends, you didn't give me life, so I'm going to enjoy the life. Let the children enjoy the gifts of life. So I think that nobody gave anybody life. A mistake occur. Yes, more disability is a mistake, but that doesn't mean they cannot enjoy life.
Everybody has obstacles on their way. But when you start seeing these obstacles as stepping stones to successes in life, then you're ready to move on from there.
Don't look down on them. Don't disregard them because they have a disability. Just help them to be who God wants them to be. Look at me today. If my parents were locking me up or say, don't go there, I would have been in amenity. But today, I'm a proud lady with cerebral palsy. It's not, my life is not all about cerebral palsy. My life is making a change with cerebral palsy. And all I have to say, thank you. I'm glad to be here.